welcome to the ID Talk podcast. My name is Peter Counter, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Find Biometrics and Mobile ID World, where we are looking back on the highlights of biometrics and identity in 2022 as we gear up for our 20th annual year in review. This month on ID Talk, we are featuring key conversations from our live event coverage dealing with the year's hottest topics. In October, we were at Money 2020 USA, checking the pulse of biometrics and identity in finance, and that's where our own Doug OGorden caught up with Kevin Brown, Chief Revenue Officer at 1KOSMOS. The interview covers a wide range of topics in a short time, highlighting 1KOSMOS's orchestrated identity technology, its compatibility with FIDO2 and Verifiable Credentials, and how tracking identities through the course of a transaction can help organizations fight fraud, not just in FinServ, but in government, healthcare, and retail too. So let's get right into it. Here is Find Biometrics' Doug OGorden in conversation with 1KOSMOS' Kevin Brown, recorded at Money 2020 USA.
Hi, Find Biometrics and Mobile ID World listeners. Doug OGorden here. I'm live at Money 2020 22. That's a mouthful, I always say. But I'm sitting down with Kevin Brown, who's the Chief Revenue Officer for 1KOSMOS. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Doug. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It's day 2.
Yep.
We're both doing the same thing, walking the show, meeting lots of people. What have been some of your show highlights in the last day and a half?
Actually, I'm here for all the vendors out in the booths because I love partnerships, and that's where we're at. And it's a target-rich environment. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. And have you seen anything interesting? Put you on the spot here. You could say no if that's true, but
well, it's all interesting if you're into the money payment side, the crypto side. It's all where we live these days.
Well, you're supposed to say, no, Doug, I've seen a lot of biometrics being integrated into other people's product lines.
No, Doug, I haven't seen it. Yeah, I'll go down that path.
No. It's been, I've walked the show, and there's a lot of collaboration. I'm learning collaboration is the word to be using at these types of shows.
Yep.
And that's what you're doing. You're collaborating with the vendors. The North American biometric space is becoming increasingly fraught and strict with privacy regulations. How are you helping your financial service customers implement stronger ID technologies in ways that could protect them from any lawsuits or regulatory issues? What's 1KOSMOS doing to help the planet?
Well, so what we do, one piece of our technology, the front piece, is an orchestrated know your customer, identity verification product. And we use our own IP. We use a lot of vendors out here that are in the booths today is part of our overlapping technology. So a comprehensive best of breed that we take in somebody's, the best facial biometrics, the best card document scanning biometrics, voice biometrics. There's a lot of pieces that people focus on, and we just take the best and put it into our orchestrated technology.
So in your company, sort of like an ID verification on the blockchain?
Well, we do a lot of things. We have, in components, we have the ID verification component. That, knowing a strong identity, we can then take that into the workforce or the customer side and authenticate. We're a FIDO2 related company, and then we can also take that and offer up verifiable credentials, and that whole platform sits on a blockchain. Yes.
And so another fraud question, because fraud's big. Fraud continues to be a driving factor for identity adoption in finance. That's why a lot of us are here. A 2020 Javelin survey found that over 65% of fraud victims in 2020 reported being dissatisfied with the way their tickets were resolved or how the outcomes. So much that 38% of them closed the account, the consumer. What are some of the most pressing fraud threats today? And when I say pressing is, how is your organization helping defend those types of threats?
Well, we're not a fraud fraud provider. They're on the front lines attacking this. I can provide them the knowledge of that identity, right?
Yep.
They can use that into their fraud detection, the account takeover protection, all those other things that they're working on the front lines. I just can show you who that person is, and I can track that person throughout the customer flow, right? And make sure it's the same person. And say 2 years down the road, I can compare that biometric identity back to where he first originated, so it's the same person. I can detect that. That will help the fraudsters or the fraud managers out here, which is a lot of our customers. A lot of, we're OEM into a couple of those where that's their task. They're fighting the fraud.
What other? We're at a banking show, but what other markets do you play in? What are some of the verticals?
Frauds everywhere, but you got the government, you got the healthcare, you got the retail. They all have fraud. There's all monetary gains behind it.
So you're horizontally, a horizontal solution.
Yeah, but obviously in the startup, being only 5-year-old company, we do have we are focused on banking, healthcare, and government because that's where the need is today.
Sure.
But we can go everywhere.
Well, and last question is we do it's our 20th anniversary.
Congratulations.
This year, thank you. And this year's our 20th anniversary of our annual biometrics study. We used to look at the history or what happened last year from our research, but next year, we're looking at the future of identity and the future of using biometrics for identity. My question to you is, what do you think Money 2020 will look like in 2023? What will be different about, in the future, what will be different about biometrics and identity?
Oh, God. I don't know, Money 2020 goes in different stages, and it's not last year is all crypto. This year's all payments. And, next year, there's a lot more identity. Maybe it's more identity. Maybe it's all focused on biometrics. I don't know where Money 2020 is going, but the biometrics is just a phenomenal industry where everything is so segmented to the different technologies, one-to-many scanning, one-to-one scanning, physical, digital, virtual. It's like, oh my God, it's just...
it could be used in any solution.
Yep.
It's a unique product or a unique way of identifying people.
And then you have to get past the regulations. That's
right.
That's a different story.
We'll stop this conversation right now because it'll take too long.
Yeah.
But what's the best way for our listeners to learn more about 1KOSMOS or to get a hold of you?
You know what? Just go to the website, 1KOSMOS.com. On it, you have all the collateral, and you also have ability to try out our technology right from the start.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time. Have a great show.
And so concludes our interview with Kevin Brown, Chief Revenue Officer at 1KOSMOS. Learn more about the topics discussed in this episode by visiting 1KOSMOS.com, which is linked in the show notes. I would like to thank Kevin for participating in this podcast, and thank you to Doug OGorden for conducting the interview. Our podcast theme music is by Logomrad. I have been your host, Peter Counter. Thank you for listening to the ID Talk podcast.